A cry for help is not always a scream. In fact, it rarely is. More often, it is a whisper, hidden in the space between words. It is disguised as a joke, painted over with a smile, buried under a mountain of productivity. We are taught to listen for the loud, obvious signals of distress, but we are often deaf to the silent, subtle language of a soul that is quietly drowning. We take our loved ones at their word. "How are you?" we ask. "I'm fine," they say. And we move on because it's easier, and because we have not been taught how to see. This is a lesson in seeing, a lesson in learning to read the secret language of pain. Because people who are truly struggling, who are on the verge of giving up, often don't have the energy, the words, or the perceived right to ask for help directly. They carry a deep, quiet shame about their own suffering. They feel like a burden. They have a long history of their needs being dismissed, so they send up flares instead of shouting. They send smoke signals instead of making a call. They are testing the waters, desperately hoping someone is paying close enough attention to see that their "I am fine" is the most profound lie they tell. Let's walk through 6 of these hidden signals, these silent cries for help, not as a way to diagnose, but as a way to love better, to see more clearly, and to become a safer harbor for the people in our lives. The first hidden sign is a sudden, almost frantic surge in positive activity and productivity. Your friend suddenly takes up marathon running. Your partner throws themselves into a massive home renovation project. Your colleague starts working 12-hour days, taking on every possible task from the outside. It can look like ambition, a newfound passion, or admirable discipline, but often it is a desperate flight from stillness. Stillness is where the feelings live. Stillness is where the pain, the anxiety, the grief can catch up. And so, they run. They build, they work, they exercise, they exhaust themselves into a state where they are too tired to feel. Busyness becomes a brilliant, socially acceptable anesthetic. They are not running toward a goal. They are running from a feeling. When you see this frantic energy, look deeper. It is often the beautiful, desperate effort of a person trying to outrun their own ghosts. The second sign, and one of a profoundly different energy, is a subtle but noticeable neglect of their personal environment. This is the friend whose once tidy apartment is now cluttered. The car that is filling up with takeaway containers, the dishes that have been sitting in the sink for days. We are quick to label this as laziness or sloppiness, but it is almost always a sign of deep exhaustion and internal chaos. When your mind is a storm of anxiety or a heavy fog of depression, the energy required to do the dishes can feel monumental. The external world becomes a direct reflection of the internal one. The clutter and mess are not a character flaw. They are a sign that a person's internal resources are so depleted, they have nothing left to manage the world outside of their own head. It is a quiet, visual signal that says, "I cannot cope. The weight inside me is so heavy. I can no longer lift the weight of my daily life." The third hidden cry for help is the use of dark or self-deprecating humor. They are the ones who make jokes about being a disaster, about wanting to sleep forever, about their own failures. They say it with a smile, a laugh, a sarcastic edge, and everyone laughs along. But humor is one of the most common and powerful ways we test the waters of our own truth. A joke is a way to speak the unspeakable and see how people react. It is a vulnerability wrapped in the armor of plausible deniability. "I was just kidding," they can say, if the reaction is one of discomfort or dismissal, but what they are really doing is floating a tiny piece of their pain, a small balloon of their truth, into the air to see if anyone will gently catch it. When you hear these jokes, resist the urge to just laugh. See it for what it is, a test, a flare, a small voice asking, "Is it safe to tell you the truth without the punchline?" This leads to the fourth sign, a noticeable change in their social and digital patterns. This can manifest in 2 opposite ways. The first is withdrawal. The friend who was once active in the group chat goes silent. They stop answering calls, they decline every invitation, they become a ghost. This is the more obvious form of withdrawal, a person pulling away to conserve energy or hide their pain. But the second form is more subtle. It is the person who starts posting strange, vague, or melancholic things online, often late at night. Song lyrics about pain, cryptic quotes, old photos with sad captions. This is not attention-seeking in the way we pejoratively use that term. It is a message in a bottle thrown into the digital ocean with the desperate hope that someone, anyone, will read it and understand that the person curating a happy life in the daytime is falling apart when the world is asleep. The fifth hidden sign is a sharp increase in irritability, cynicism, or low-grade anger. This is the friend who suddenly has a short fuse, the partner who becomes critical and nitpicky, the family member who seems pessimistic and angry at the world. Our first instinct is to take this personally. We think, what did I do? Why are they mad at me? But more often than not, this anger is pain in disguise. Unprocessed grief, deep anxiety, and profound sadness are incredibly vulnerable emotions to feel. Sadness invites a closeness that can feel terrifying. This person isn't angry at you for loading the dishwasher wrong. Their emotional container is full to the brim, and the slightest bump causes it to spill over, not as tears, but as rage. And finally, the sixth, and perhaps most poignant hidden sign, is when a person becomes the ultimate strong friend to everyone else. They are the designated caregiver of your entire social circle. And while this is a beautiful act of love, when it is relentless and one-sided, it is often a silent cry. They are creating the very dynamic they are starved for. They are initiating the conversation they wish someone would have with them. By giving care, they are trying to stay close to the language of care. They are hoping, often unconsciously, that you will see the pattern, that you will stop. So what do we do when we see these flares, when we hear these whispers? The answer is not to rush in with solutions or to try and fix their pain. The most powerful response is far quieter and far more profound. It begins with simply reflecting back what you see without judgment. I've noticed you've been working so hard lately. I hope you're taking time for yourself. That was a funny joke. But it also sounded like there was something real in it. Are you doing okay? This simple act of noticing breaks the first rule of silent suffering. Invisibility. You are letting them know, I see you. I see beyond the mask. Then, learn to ask twice. The first, how are you, will almost always be met with a reflexive, I'm fine. That is the script. The second ask is where the magic happens. After they say they're fine, pause. Look them in the eyes with gentle concern and ask again. I know you say you're fine, but how are you, really? This second question communicates that you are not just being polite. You are genuinely inviting their truth, and you are prepared to hold it. And most importantly, offer your presence, not your advice. The impulse to fix is strong, but a person in deep pain does not need your 5-point plan. They need your safe, non-judgmental presence. The most healing words in the universe are often, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. This creates a space where they don't have to perform. They can be tired, sad, angry, or silent, and they will not be abandoned. To love someone is to become a student of their language, especially the language they speak in silence. It is to become a detective of the heart, looking for the clues that pain leaves behind. By learning to see these hidden signs, we don't just become better friends or partners. We become agents of a quieter, gentler, and more compassionate world. We become the person who finally, gently, catches the balloon of truth and holds it with the reverence it deserves. If this helped you see someone in your life or yourself more clearly, that is a beautiful first step. If you feel comfortable, share a thought or another subtle sign you've noticed. And if you'd like to continue learning the language of the heart, please subscribe. Let's learn to listen to the whispers together.